by no means do
And
I
I really
think
think
Sly
so.
is a
It's an
bad
amazing
game.
game.
It's
Love
really
Sly.
good.
It's way more
Just
fun.
like, and on top of that, and Sly
Sly
3
Cooper
wasn't trying to
remake
top
Sly.
Sly. I don't like Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. Sly Cooper Thieves in Time was a failed attempt to revive the Sly Cooper franchise originally developed by Sucker Punch.
As you can see,
When I was younger, I thought that if Sony ever released a Sly 4, it would be incredible, fantastic, and most importantly, it would live up to the previous 3 games. Sly Cooper Thieves in Time released on February 5th, 2013, a whole 8 years after Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves. I was so excited to see what an 8-year gap between games would bring, and it's fair to say that I was very dissatisfied with Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. But my question is why? I need to figure out why I dislike this game so much. So go ahead and get yourself a nice snack and sit down, because we're looking at Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. Sly Cooper Thieves in Time picks up a few years after Sly 3. Sly is living the peaceful life with Carmelita, supposedly done with crime, until he starts getting the old itch for one more heist. Meanwhile, Bentley, who's been guarding the Thieves Raccoonus, discovers his pages are mysteriously vanishing, and his girlfriend Penelope is also gone. Bentley suspects someone is tampering with time itself, and his solution is a time machine, built right into the old gang's van, and powered by relics of certain eras. This is the setup for the tutorial mission, and it reintroduces us to the classic controls. Sly still has all his thief moves, Bentley still has his darts, and Murray still has his brute strength. They're all back, and to the game's credit, it still feels really good. Not as good as Sly 2 was, but it still feels really solid. The real problem here is how the mission ends. Sly grabs a katana only for Carmelita to storm in. After they exchange a few words, she ends their relationship, which then prompts Sly to get away, saying he'll call her. And then Sly gets right into the van, throws the katana into the time machine, and the gang is off to feudal Japan. And I gotta say, this setup is awful. Really? This is how Sly's 4th game starts? A ridiculous time travel plot? Of all things, time travel. Look, I get it. The franchise has magic as a confirmed thing that exists. People turn themselves into immortal robots. But time travel is a little too out there. I know Bentley is supposed to be really smart, but him being able to Tony Stark his way into unlocking time travel is a little beyond belief. And on top of that, Sly having an itch to do a heist is so stupid. This is the guy who realized he wasn't happy being a master thief and specifically wanted to form a life with Carmelita. And when she shows up and finds out he lied about being a changed person, he just nonchalantly says, "Yeah, I'll make it up to her later." It's complete character assassination of his PS2 self. I mean, there are so many other plots they could have done instead of time travel. Here, imagine instead Sly working with Interpol, using his skills to take down dangerous criminals who pose a serious threat to society. It's kind of like how real agencies will recruit former criminals for their operations. It'd be a natural evolution. Keep Carmelita in the story, open the door for Bentley and Murray to join the cause in a believable, compelling way, and on top of that, have some story beats about how it's weird for him to being a police officer or something. In 10 seconds, I came up with a way better plot than time travel. Alright, so the intro is a train wreck. But hey, maybe the worlds and the villains and the gameplay save the day. Right? Surely, Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time redeems itself with cool settings and memorable bad guys. Right? Well, kind of. Visually, the worlds are solid. Each episode takes place in a different era, and the environments do a good job capturing the vibe. The color palettes match the time period as well as period correct guards. So, yeah, aesthetically they did nail it. And the comic book style does feel really good here. It does really feel like an evolution of the PS2 art style. On top of that, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time does bring back collectibles. Clue bottles can be collected to open a safe, and of course, a safe contains an upgrade for the player, much like Sly 1 and Sly 2. Valuable treasures are scattered throughout the world and are worth lots of money, and there's new collectibles called Sly Masks. These do a great job at unlocking special cosmetics, and once you collect enough of them, you really do start to feel as if you're working towards something. I like the fact that the worlds have collectibles, as it does give you a reason to explore the world. But then the villains show up, and it kind of falls apart. There are 5 episodes, each with its own villain. El Jefe, Toothpick, the Grizz, the Black Knight, and Ms. Decibel. And the structure of each episode feels kind of copy and pasted. Show up, do some recon, meet a Cooper ancestor, find out what the villain's doing, and then wrap it all up in the heist. Rinse and repeat. Now, I don't hate the fact that this is set up this way. I mean, it does kind of get a little boring, but I understand why they did it. However, I still don't like it, as even in episode 3 or episode 4, where they try and mix things up, it really doesn't hit the same as it did in the previous games. Now, we need to talk about the villains themselves. El Jefe, one of the first one, tries to be intimidating, and he's okay, but the moment the fight starts, he kind of turns into a joke as he's very predictable. Villains like Toothpick being a cowboy and having a gun being all rootin' tootin' evil, he's about as menacing as a root beer stain. They try to do this thing where they foreshadow him growing to a big size in some of the missions and him being unhinged, but he's not threatening in the slightest. And then you have characters like the Grizz. And oh my god. The Grizz is basically a failed SoundCloud rapper who turned to a criminal. And it's so hard to take him, Toothpick, and El Jefe seriously when you're cringing at everything they do, and they're not menacing. And then we have some of the other villains in this game. Let's start off with Ms. Decibel. She pretty much barely exists. The game sets her up only to toss her aside so it can show off the real villain, La Paradox. And then there's the most egregious of the villains, the Black Knight. Starting off, the big twist with the Black Knight is that it's Penelope. Yeah, Bentley's super smart, loyal girlfriend from Sly 3. Turns out she sold the time machine plans to La Paradox so Bentley would help her develop weapons for the highest bidder. Why? Because money. That's it. No deeper reason. Just, I want to get rich making war machines. Great. Glad. I'm so happy we ruined a great character for a lame twist. And like, how is getting La Paradox a time machine gonna make Bentley sell you weapons? And I don't understand her motivations at all. They don't make any sense. And Ms. Penelope, sweetie, you call those war machines those mechs you built? If a raccoon with a stick can bring them down, the only thing you're arming is the recycling bin. And now we have the ringleader of them all, La Paradox, the final villain who is supposed to be the most dangerous in the series. He has a time machine, he's altering history, the game tells he's a major threat, he supposedly has beaten Cooper ancestors, and despite being labeled a major threat, he never actually feels like one. Compare him to past villains. Clockwork was pure menace, an immortal machine driven by hatred. Playing through his levels, you felt how powerful he was. You didn't need to be told he's threatening. You felt it in the machinery he built and in the environment he inhabited. Neela in Sly 2 manipulated everyone before pulling off one of the biggest and best betrayals in the series. Dr. M had brains and power and a personal vendetta that challenged Sly on every level. He was the biggest villain, maybe even bigger than Clockwork, technically. The Paradox, though? He shows up in a few cutscenes, gives a monologue, and then disappears half the goddamn time. He has no real presence, no sense of pressure or danger in the gameplay. He is all set up and no payoff. And for a final boss, he just doesn't live up to the legacy of the villains that came before him. His whole boss fight is this dumb QuickTime event, and on top of that, he's not threatening. He has no aura. I can overlook a lackluster story if the gameplay delivers. And Sly Cooper Thieves in Time mostly does. It's solid, but it's nothing groundbreaking. You'll be switching between the core Cooper gang, Sly, Bentley, and Murray, plus one of Sly's ancestors depending on the time period, and on occasion even Carmelita. The main trio plays just like they did on the PS2, which is great. The real letdown, though, comes to how they use them. A lot of times it feels like they're using very bland mission design that kind of resembles the old PS2 counterparts, but never really expands beyond a surface level. And even worse are the ancestors. While each has a unique mechanic, like Tennessee's gun or Ryoichi's long-distance jumps, they feel too similar to Sly. They don't bring a distinct playstyle, which makes their inclusion feel more like a missed opportunity than a fresh twist. These are supposed to be master thieves in their own right, who have unique styles differing than Sly. I understand having them resemble Sly in some ways, their ancestors, but it should be noted that they need their own kind of playstyle. Why play as a guy who's kind of like Sly, and not just play as Sly? As for Carmelita, she joins the team later on, but the game rarely gives you a reason to play as her. She's only used in other characters' missions, and she feels so underutilized that I don't know why they included her. Especially since her character is so underused story-wise. She could have had so much potential, but they kind of wasted it. As for the mission structure, it's familiar. Pickpocketing, tailing, sneaking into key locations, the usual Sly formula. And to mix it up, there's even more mini-games and other breaks in gameplay. That's the best way I can describe it. Bentley, of course, has his hacking return, but this time in 3 different flavors. The same twin-stick overhead shooter, side-scrolling space levels, and this kind of fun marble rolling game using motion controls. These are the most of the mini games that the game actually likes to throw in there, and they're all pretty fun. They're generally good to do, and they do a decent job breaking up the core gameplay. Aside from that, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time has far more brawling and rhythm game levels. Starting off with the brawling levels, it's about what you would expect. Lots of punching and scrambling for health. And Sly Cooper Thieves in Time also uses a whole bunch of rhythm games for variety. And the big ones are Murray's Geisha Dance, a skate off with the Grizz, and I can't believe I'm saying this, a scene, or rather a game, where you play as Carmelita giving a bunch of baboons a belly dance. Yes, you right there, I see you. You're not allowed to enjoy this. The rhythm games here are fine. I don't hate them. but they don't feel as fun as the previous ones. Overall, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time has fine gameplay. It doesn't offend me too much. Levels have good difficulty without being too easy, and to be fair, they do try to break up the monotony with little mini games for you to play. I have more of an issue with why am I doing these things than the actual doing them. Sly 2 and Sly 3 always made sure that every mission felt like part of a bigger heist, or it had some significant story reason for being there. But the missions in Sly Cooper Thieves in Time feel disjointed, each one blurring into the next, and it can be overall underwhelming. My biggest issues with Sly Cooper Thieves in Time come down to three main things: weak writing, lack of standout moments, and little annoyances that break the immersion. Let's start off with the writing. The story leans way too hard on coincidences. The katana Sly tries to steal in the intro? Suddenly, it's crucial for the time machine. A sheriff's badge just happens to lead the team to the next time period? Great! Oh, the exact item they need at the end of episode 2? Just chill in the back of the van. One or two coincidences I can accept, as that's how real life works sometimes. But every episode hinges on them. It feels lazy, and it breaks the illusion that this world has any real structure or stakes, as things just so happen to fall into place. And then there's the overall experience. And this one hurts a lot. Nothing really grabbed me. I kept thinking to myself, maybe this episode will hook me. Or maybe this next mission will be the one that makes me want to play this game. But it never came. The game never had a moment where I truly felt drawn in. And that's a big problem, because it makes Thieves in Time just feel forgettable. And then, finally, it's all the small stuff. And yes, I know, nitpicks, but they do add up. I had moments when the game would freeze. The gadget inventory, just 12 to 20 items. Now it's just down to 5. Movement feels good, but for some reason, other than Sly, everyone feels really sluggish, even clunky at times. And oh my god, these fucking voice lines! Non-stop. Characters keep blurting out the same lines over and over, even during stealth. You're supposed to be Master Thieves. Maybe don't yell across the rooftops every 10 goddamn seconds.
How will I explain this to Carmelita?
It's these themes that make Sly Cooper Thieves in Time a boring and uninteresting game on both narrative and gameplay. And that's the biggest sins that this game does. It's just kind of boring. I want to be clear. I didn't go into this game wanting to dislike it. I genuinely wanted to give it a fair shot. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe younger me didn't vibe with it. Maybe it is a good game. I was open to being surprised. But the best way I can explain my frustration, and honestly my apathy, is by how I ended up playing the game. I found myself rushing through missions, not because I was chasing a speedrun record, but because I wanted them to be over. I only searched for clue bottles and collectibles when I was bored. Not because I cared about the reward, but because I had nothing better to do. And worst of all, the biggest sin was I was not having any fun. I stopped engaging. I only paid attention when I absolutely had to. And the rest of the time, I was just going through the motions. I turned my brain off while playing this game. And that says it's all. That's how I truly feel playing Thieves of Time. It is a game where I didn't feel the need to pay attention. I didn't want to pay attention. because the game never gave me a reason to. The characters suck. They don't feel like the characters from the PS2 game. The gameplay's mid. It's very bad. Like, it's badly mid. It doesn't stick out. I know for a fact that we all have our favorite franchises. And we all want to have more stories in them. But I realized something playing Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. Maybe, just maybe, we should let our favorite franchises end. There's a bittersweet feeling that comes from that. We won't get any more capers, no more japes, no more hanging on, no more adventures. But there will be closure, an ending, and an ability to give our favorite heroes and villains a fitting end. Sly Cooper had that in Sly 3. But like a mad scientist, we brought him back for a fourth time. And that fourth time was a shameful display. Like a zombie, the game lumbers around, not really going in a direction out of intention, but rather just because. It moves slower, feels lifeless, and most importantly, it only vaguely resembles the life it once had. I still love the Sly Cooper franchise, but I don't want there to be another one. There just isn't a way to bring him back without removing Sly Cooper Thieves in Time from the canon timeline or acknowledging it. And I imagine that not even Sony or Sucker Punch wants to remind themselves of this game. I want to thank everybody who watched this video. And I want to thank everybody who watched the whole Sly Cooper retrospective series. It was so much fun to look back at this game series, and it's one of my favorite franchises. If you would, please like and comment, and most importantly, subscribe. I'm really looking forward to making more videos and hopefully expanding my content and showing more people my voice. With that being said, I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye!